Okay, I'm gonna do a little review on this stone. This is a Wakasa Asagi stone that I recently got. It's huge, um, more than 3 inches wide, full length, probably 30 mil thick at least. I haven't really measured it, but first I'm gonna do some bevel setting. This is a Japanese razor, in pretty good condition. Needs a bevel, so you can watch the bevel setting process if you like, or you can skip later on. So give the edge. This has no major chips or anything, so it should be very straightforward. My go-to stone is the Trocera 1K or the 2K for bevel setting, but I'm going to use the 1K because I'm going to go through some characteristics on the Wakasa stone, and one of them is speed. So this is pretty much going to be a one stone hone. Now this razor, like I said, it's not in bad shape. I don't need to do any crazy circles or super hard pressure or anything that stupid. This bevel is going to be set in a couple of minutes. I think there was one little chip in there, but that's going to come out. She's cutting. Okay, I'm going to rinse this off. Just water down this stone a bit. Just from a little thumbnail here, just needs a little bit more on the heel. Everything else seems fine, so okay, yep, the bevel's definitely set. I'm going to wash this stone off because it has a little bit of slurry on it. I'm going to do some clear water strokes. Okay, I'm happy with that. Swipe the razor, put that aside. Okay, so bringing out the Wakasa. This is a very nice stone. I've used about 4 or 5 Wakasas. They all seem to be very similar. This one is a little bit harder than the other one that I have. The only flaws I can really spot is maybe a chip here out of the corner, but that's no big deal. You got more than 3 inches of width to deal with. Yeah, that's the bottom of the stone. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to generate a diamond slurry. Normally I'd use a Tomo Nagura when finishing, but I'm going to use a diamond slurry for 2 reasons. And one of them is I need an aggressive slurry for cutting speed coming off the 1K. I can use a Tomo Nagura after the 1K, but it will take me a bit longer. The second reason is I really like the characteristics of the Wakasa slurry, because it's a very fast cutter, and you know, once it all breaks down, or you can pretty much finish on it with no issues at all. So this is in the finishing category, or a polishing stone for straight razors. Okay, so whipping out the Toma 1200, which is my favourite diamond slurry maker. Now this is going to be a little bit challenging because this stone's pretty hard, so this Toma is actually going to struggle. I spent quite a bit of time lapping this stone and needed some heavy lapping, but the Toma 140 took care of that, and I had to smooth it out. This is how much slurry I've got so far, it's ridiculous. Yeah, and I had to smooth it out using the Toma 400 and the 1200. There we go, we're getting somewhere. Yeah, this is a hard stone obviously, but it's very fine at the same time, fast cutting, and these are the things that I look for in a premium stone. Anyway, normally I'd like a bit more slurry, just so we don't make this video too long. I'm just going to settle for with that. So what I like to do is edge joining. You know, this is something I've spoken about in the groups a few times. I'm not going to carry on about it now, but it removes the toothiness from the edge. That's all you need. And this is something I picked up from Alex Gilmore in one of his videos, and the first time I ever seen it is when I watched his video doing it this way, edge down on the stone, and I freaked out, thinking what the hell was he doing, but now I understand how it works. So I probably made a few of you cringe, but try it out. So what I'm doing is bringing the edge back This slurry is pretty thick, so it's not falling off the razor. So this is what I consider. Look, it's not a lot of slurry, but it's not watered down that much. So this is what I would call a thick slurry. And what we're trying to do is bring the edge back. I'm not using ridiculous pressure again. I'm just going with it. I'm not in a rush. Okay, so let's see. Not quite. Oh, it's almost back. That probably sounds horrible because this slurry is really thick. I don't normally work with slurry this thick or that pasty. Anyway, just give it a bit more water. You can already see the slurry is starting to turn grey. When we started off with a white slurry, now it's grey. So I don't know how many strokes I just did. I didn't do much, just a couple of minutes, and I think we've brought the edge back already. Okay, yep, and the edge is definitely back. Okay, so this is how long it takes to bring the edge back on this stone after a 1K trocera followed by edge joining. So this is a very good characteristic of this stone. Its cutting abilities are fantastic. And I didn't even use that much slurry. Alright, so now I'm going to start diluting. Adding a bit of water on the stone and just spraying down that razor. Okay, and then I'm going to back off a bit of the pressure. Now I'm just using weight of the razor. Before I was using maybe the weight of my hand, I don't know. So it's kind of hard to explain, but you get the point. Now it's just really weight of the razor. That's what I mean by weight of the razor. Like literally weight of the razor. Not weight of the razor. And it is difficult. It's not easy to maintain the weight of the razor pressure, especially when you fatigue or if your hands get tired and they start relaxing a bit too much. I think it actually puts more strain on your hands when using the weight of the razor because you're not, your hand's not relaxed. It's trying to not use any downforce. And I think that's one of the major keys to getting a really nice, smooth and sharp edge. Pressure. And it seems that that a lot of people do struggle with it. And I can understand, you know, it's harder with some stones and some razors when using weighted razor pressure, because the razor wants to skip or bounce, or it's not smooth enough, and sometimes you'd have to sort of torque the edge towards the stone slightly, but being very careful at the same time. You know, you look at it this way, it's simple. We've established a primary edge, we've edge joined, we've brought it back, so the edge is already nice and straight, it's somewhat sharp. All we're doing from here is refining that edge to make it sharper, yet more comfortable. Now, trying to achieve the sharpest edge in the world is not really your goal. You can have some really sharp edges out there that are very irritating to shave with. And I'm probably doing more than what I need to at the moment. So what I'll do, for my finishing strokes, I'm going to strop this razor up. Okay, so that was 15 on linen. You can use leather, you can use newspaper, you can use sandpaper, you can use whatever you want. No, not really sandpaper, but you get the drift. Okay, so one spray and that was about 5 strokes. Gonna knock some of the slurry off. There we go. Still got slurry, it's just light. Another 5. Now the slurry is very light, starting to drift on the other side of the stone. It's probably one disadvantage of having a very big stone. But bigger is better, right? No, not always. Depends on your preference. Okay, so I'm going to strop this razor up, and guess what? It's ready to shave with. I'll post an edge photo at the end of this video, so don't go away. One more thing. This whole tape and no tape thing, people prefer to use tape, others don't. I don't use tape. I keep my strokes minimal. I don't use crazy pressure, so I barely put any wear on the razor. If you look at the spine, this is pretty much an old, unused, vintage Japanese razor. Now, I've set the bevel without tape, and I've honed it through on the Wakasa without tape, and I can't see any hone wear. Pretty much nothing here. This is a shave ready razor. So the point I'm trying to make is you don't have to tape every razor you've got. I prefer not to, because I get better feel on the stone. And if you keep your strokes minimal and don't go too crazy with the pressure, you'll be fine. You won't have to use tape. Now the times that I do use tape is if the razor has a big chip in it or needs some really heavy bevel work. I'll do a hard bevel set or with a layer of tape. Once the bevel is set, I can continue with tape, or I'll remove the layer of tape, kill the edge, reset it without tape, and basically you're just changing the bevel angle with an already set bevel, and that takes only a few strokes. Okay.